The Garden of Two Hearts. Part 1. The Seed of Curiosity. Layla stood at the edge of the community garden, sunlight filtering through the budding leaves overhead. It was spring in her city, and everything around her seemed looser, more hopeful. Yet inside, her heart felt tightly wound. She'd been carrying stress for so long that she could no longer remember what it felt like to truly relax. She came here seeking peace. By day, she was a high-powered architect racing against deadlines. By night, she lay awake, her mind tangled in blue light and anxiety. Stress had become her constant companion. As she tended her small plot of herbs, pulling weeds and watering basil seedlings, she caught sight of someone else working the soil. His name was Raphael, a gentle-eyed yoga instructor who volunteered here every weekend. They nodded in passing, but today he smiled and approached. "Morning, Layla," he said, wiping dirt from his hands. "How's your little garden doing?" She shrugged, attempting a smile. "It's fine. I'm just trying to find calm." He knelt beside her plant and said, "Calm grows like a flower. It needs sunlight, water, and gentle care. But sometimes we forget to tend to the most important garden, our own bodies and minds." She raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" Raphael stood and stretched, as if inviting her into his world. "I teach people how to connect, breath, movement, touch. Most of us know that yoga can soothe the nervous system. But we often overlook one of the most natural ways to heal: intimacy. Genuine, caring intimacy." Layla paused. "You mean sex?" He nodded. "Yes. Sex, when shared with trust and presence, is not just pleasure, it's medicine. It boosts immunity, lowers stress, eases pain, even improves sleep." She blinked. "That sounds too good to be true." "It's science," he said simply. "And it's sacred." Part 2. The First Lesson. That evening, Layla found herself thinking about Raphael's words. She realized she'd been living half asleep, her body carrying tension she barely noticed. Sleep was fitful, mornings felt like a slog. Curious, she looked up some studies on her phone, lying in bed until 2 a.m. She learned that sexual activity, especially orgasms, releases endorphins and oxytocin, hormones that act like natural painkillers and mood lifters. Regular intimacy led to lower blood pressure, improved heart health, and reduced anxiety. Better still, it created a sense of safety and bonding with a partner. Despite the late hour, Layla felt a spark of hope. Could something so simple really help her reclaim her life? The next Saturday, she arrived at the garden determined to ask Raphael more. As they worked side by side, she found the courage. "Raphael, about what you said. I've never been in a healthy relationship. And honestly, I'm terrified that intimacy will hurt more than heal." He paused, his expression soft. "I understand. Trust isn't built in a day. But every journey begins with a single step. Would you join me for a workshop I'm hosting? It's called Sacred Connection. We explore breathwork, consent, touch awareness, no sexual activity required, just learning to be present in your own body." She hesitated, her pride and fear warring in her chest, then nodded. Part 3. Learning to Breathe. The workshop was held in a softly lit studio, candles flickering on low tables. A circle of cushions invited each participant to sit. Layla felt exposed, but also oddly curious. Raphael guided them through simple breath exercises, inhaling to the count of 4, exhaling to the count of 6. He explained how slow, deep breathing activated the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing cortisol, the stress hormone that had left her jittery for years. As the breathing deepened, Raphael spoke in a calm voice. "Our bodies hold stories, tension, pain, longing. By breathing into those places, we begin to irrigate them, to bring light and awareness where there was darkness." Layla closed her eyes. She felt her chest loosen, her shoulders drop. The knot in her stomach began to unravel. Next came a partner exercise, gentle hand-holding across the circle. Without rushing, they explored pressure, warmth, and the simple act of presence. Layla's hands trembled at first, but as Raphael guided her to notice the heat radiating between their palms, she felt a quiet thrill, connection without demand. By the end of the class, participants journaled about sensations and emotions. Layla wrote, "I felt my body respond to kindness. I realized how starved I've been for safe touch." She left that night with a new understanding. Healing doesn't always require solving problems with the mind. Sometimes it requires rewiring the body's memory of safety. Part 4, The Garden of Trust. Over the next few weeks, Layla and Raphael met often, in the community garden, at the workshop, for long walks. They shared stories of past hurts and small victories. Raphael never rushed her. He let her set the pace. One evening, as they harvested tomatoes together, Raphael paused and looked at her earnestly. "Layla, would you like to explore more, together? Not to fix you, but to share something that could nurture us both." Layla's heart hammered. She thought of her late-night research, the cardiovascular benefits, the immune boost, the mood-enhancing hormones. But more than data, she thought of that night in class, of the warmth in Raphael's eyes, the safety she felt in his presence. "Yes," she whispered. "But slowly. I want it to be about trust." He smiled, relief and joy mingling on his face. "Of course." Part 5, Blossoming Intimacy. Their first night together was an unhurried dance of discovery. They lit low lamps, played soft music. Raphael guided her to notice each breath, each heartbeat. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her hands, exploring what it meant to honor her body. As they moved together, Raphael checked in often. "Is this okay? Do you feel safe?" Each question honored her autonomy, weaving trust into every touch. When they finally reached intimacy, it wasn't frantic, it was fluid. Layla felt her body respond, a warm glow, a melody of pleasure that wasn't just physical, but emotional. Waves of oxytocin washed over her, and she found tears on her cheeks, tears of release, of knowing at last she was seen. Afterward, they lay wrapped in each other's arms. Raphael stroked her hair and murmured, "This is just the beginning." Layla exhaled deeply, her heart full. "I feel alive." Part 6, Harvesting Health. In the days that followed, Layla noticed small miracles. Better sleep. For the first time in years, she drifted into deep, uninterrupted sleep. She woke feeling rested, her mind clear enough to sketch new designs without racing thoughts. Eased aches. Her chronic shoulder tension, the result of hours hunched over blueprints, began to loosen. The pain that once followed her home faded. Lifted mood. She found herself smiling at strangers. Work deadlines felt challenging, not crushing. Stronger immunity. A cold that had been creeping installed. She slept deeply and awoke refreshed, as if her body's defenses had recalibrated. Heart health. A routine checkup revealed lower blood pressure and a stronger pulse. But most importantly, she carried a new sense of self-worth. She realized that pleasure wasn't frivolous, it was fundamental. By sharing intimacy with care, she had rewired her nervous system to expect safety instead of threat. Part 7, Sharing the Seed. Months later, Layla proposed a special workshop at the community center, Pleasure as Medicine. She co-led it with Raphael, combining his somatic expertise with her architectural precision in creating safe spaces. They guided couples and individuals through breath, touch, communication exercises, and open discussion of the science behind pleasure. 1. Oxytocin and connection. How the cuddle hormone fosters bonding, reduces anxiety, and promotes healing. 2. Endorphins and pain relief. How natural opioids, released during orgasm, ease chronic pain and improve mood. 3. Dopamine and motivation. How the pleasure-reward cycle boosts motivation, creativity, and resilience. 4. Cortisol reduction. How safe, consensual intimacy lowers stress hormones, improving sleep and immunity. 5. Cardiovascular benefits. How gentle physical activity during sex strengthens the heart and circulation. Participants left with practical tools, mindful breathing before intimacy, communication scripts for expressing needs, and the freedom to embrace pleasure without shame. Epilogue: The Ever-Blooming Garden. 1 year after that first meeting in the garden, Layla and Raphael returned to tend the very plot where their journey began. Basil had grown tall, tomatoes hung heavy on the vine. Layla paused, closing her eyes as the sun warmed her face. She could almost feel the pulse of life in the soil beneath her fingertips, life she had once overlooked in herself. Raphael knelt beside her and said, "Look how far we've come." She opened her eyes, seeing not just the plants but the reflection of their own growth. "We sowed a different kind of seed," she said softly. "One of trust, pleasure, and health." They stood together, hand in hand, knowing that their love, and the lessons they'd shared, would continue to bloom in every heartbeat, every breath, every gentle touch. Because true intimacy is more than passion. It is medicine for the body, balm for the mind, and nectar for the soul. And in that garden, of earth and of two hearts, life flourished more beautifully than either of them had ever imagined. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Don't Give Up. Let's continue exploring life's challenges and insights together.